and welcome to the December 17th legislative session of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining. Please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Present. Trustee Codman?
Present.
Trustee Quezada?
Present.
Trustee DeRio?
Present.
And Mayor Hanauer.
Present.
Okay. We have a special occasion this evening where we have five officers being sworn in to the police department.
Thank you. Wow. What an exciting evening. I've lifted a page from my later speech because I think it more appropriate to do now. On January 1st, our Ossining Police will begin to provide seamless coverage not only to the village, but also now to the unincorporated area of the town and to the entire school system. This intermunicipal agreement is a significant achievement, one of which we all should be very proud. And we have the skill and discipline of our Chief, Joe Burton, our Captain, Scott Craven, Detective Lieutenant Sullivan, Lieutenant Slater, Montague, and Sylvester, and all of our officers and civilian police employees to thank for the many years of constantly improving protection of our now peaceful village, and for the development of our department that has led to the possibility of this 2015 expansion. This evening, I have the great honor to swear in 5 new officers whose hiring effectuates it. A 6th will be sworn in when his paperwork is complete, and that we hope will be by the 30th of the year. It is a great source of satisfaction to have helped these 8 years to shape the future of our department, and to be the one to whom these fine young officers and so many others before them have responded. Exercising this duty and responsibility is one of the joys of being mayor, especially now for me, that it is the penultimate exercise of one of my most cherished duties. So now we can start.
Okay.
I'm going to call you all,
We have
we have to read the resolution. Go for it.
Okay. Resolved, the County of Westchester Personnel Office has certified to the Village of Ossining a list of eligible candidates containing at least 3 names from a permanent appointment position of police officer. And whereas Addison Chavez is ranked on the aforesaid list of eligible candidates, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, pursuant to the applicable provision of the Civil Service Law and the unconsolidated laws of the State of New York, hereby appoints Addison Chavez to the position of probationary police officer of the Village of Ossining Police Department, effective January 20th, 2015, tentative upon completion of pre-employment screenings and approval by the Westchester County Department of Human Resources, at an annual salary of $47,557. This appointment is subject to a probationary period of 78 weeks. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Addison, you want to join me? And Tom. And bring your family up. Aye. Whoops. Is that all?
Hey, just do that later after you're sworn in.
Okay. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Addison J. Chavez,
I, Addison J. Chavez,
being duly sworn,
being duly sworn,
swear on my honor
swear on my honor
I will never betray my badge,
I will never betray my badge,
my integrity,
my integrity,
my character,
my
or
character,
the public trust.
or the public trust.
I will always have the courage to hold myself
I will always have the courage to hold myself
and others accountable for our actions.
and others accountable for our actions.
Further, that I am a resident of the state of New York,
Further, that I am a resident of the state of New York,
and I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the state of New York.
and the Constitution of the state of New York.
I will obey all ordinances, rules, and regulations
I will obey all ordinance, rules, and regulations
of the Village of Ossining
of the Village of Ossining
and will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the police officer
and in and for the said Village of Ossining, New York,
in and for the said Village of Ossining, New York,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, officer.
I don't want to hit them. I'm known to do those things. Okay, just a short, not to keep everybody here, it's getting a little hot already. Addison, as with all the candidates tonight, so I don't have to repeat it, are residents of the Village of Ossining. He's a Ossining High School graduate. He attended the Westchester Community College, and he worked in sales. Watch him, he was a used car salesman. So, Addison is fluent in Spanish, and he joins his brother and his other brother, who is a Mount Vernon police officer, as being a police officer with us. Congratulations, Addison.
First off, I'd like to thank God for this blessing that He has so blessed me with today, and my family and friends for just being here to support me, and I look forward to a successful career here at the Ossining Police Department. So thank you very much.
Thank you. JP, you're number 6, right? At the end of the year when your paperwork is in? Shh, I didn't say that. Sorry about that, Joe. Okay, photographs? You have family photographs? Joe.
Oh. Okay. If you don't get the right shots, we have time afterwards. We'll.
Hey, Landon, are you ready? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Great, thank you.
Hold on.
What? More. Places, please.
Okay.
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 Addison, you have to sign the book.
It's not official.
The next on our program is Connor Tompkins. Where are you, Connor? Thought as much. Whoops, sorry. You want to bring your family up?
All right, Mary Ann.
Okay. Resolved, the County of Westchester Personnel Office has certified to the Village of Ossining a list of eligible candidates containing at least 3 names from the permanent appointment position of police officer. And whereas Connor Tompkins is ranked on the aforesaid list of eligible candidates, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, pursuant to the applicable provision of the Civil Service Law and the unconsolidated laws of the New York State, hereby appoints Connor Tompkins to the position of probationary police officer of the Village of Ossining Police Department effective January 20th, 2015, tentative upon completion of pre-employment screenings and approval by the Westchester County Department of Human Resources at an annual salary of $47,557. This appointment is subject to a probationary period of 78 weeks. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Getting in is the hardest part of your job, you know, all of that stuff in the New York, with Westchester County. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Connor Tompkins,
I, Connor Tompkins,
being duly sworn,
being duly sworn,
state on my honor,
state on my honor,
I will never betray my badge,
I will never betray my badge,
my integrity,
my integrity,
my character, or the public trust.
my character, or the public trust.
I will always have the courage to hold myself
I will always have the courage to hold myself
and others accountable for our actions.
and others accountable for our actions.
Further, that I am a resident of the state of New York,
Further, that I am a resident of the state of New York,
and I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the state of New York.
and the Constitution of the state of New York.
I will obey all ordinances, rules, and regulations of the Village of Ossining,
I will obey all ordinances, rules, and regulations of the Village of Ossining,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of police officer
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of police officer
in and for the said Village of Ossining, New York,
in and for the said Village of Ossining, New York,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
officer.
Okay, a little bit about Connor. Connor is a graduate of SUNY Cortland, where he got his BS in physical education. Yes, Henry, okay. He's student taught in the Ossining School District. He's a permanent substitute teacher, at least for a little while, in Sleepy Hollow Middle School, and he's also a modified wrestling coach, and his father is a coach with Sleepy Hollow football team. Got to add those things in there, you know that.
Would you like to say something?
I'd just like to thank God, my family, the Village of Ossining, and the Ossining Police Department for accepting me, and I'm looking forward to get started. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Photo call? Richie?
Resolved, the County of Westchester Personnel Office has certified to the Village of Ossining a list of eligible candidates containing at least 3 names from the permanent appointment position of police officer. And whereas Richard J. Camp is ranked on the aforesaid list of eligible candidates, now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, pursuant to the applicable provision of the Civil Service Law and the unconsolidated laws of New York State, hereby appoints Richard J. Camp to the position of probationary police officer of the Village of Ossining Police Department, effective January 20th, 2015, tentative upon completion of pre-employment screenings and approval by the Westchester County Department of Human Resources at an annual salary of $47,557. This appointment is subject to a probationary period of 78 weeks. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Well, it's that time. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Richard J. Camp,
I, Richard J. Camp,
being duly sworn,
being duly sworn,
state on my honor,
state on my honor,
I will never betray my badge,
I will never betray my badge,
my integrity,
my integrity,
my character, or
My
the
c-
public trust.
my character, or the public trust.
I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions.
I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for my actions.
Further, that I am a resident of the state of New York,
Further, that I am a resident of the state of New York,
and I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the state of New York.
and the Constitution of the state of New York.
I will obey all ordinances, rules, and regulations
I will obey all ordinances, rules, and regulations
of the Village of Ossining,
of the Village of Ossining,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of police officer
of the office of police officer
in and for the said Village of Ossining, New York,
in and for the said Village of Ossining, New York,
the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, officer.
Well, okay. Very much. All right, just a little bit about Richie. As you may recognize, he comes from the Village of Ossining family. His father's retired from the water department and out there taking pictures is his aunt, who works in the village manager's office. So he's known in the village a little bit. Can't get away. Let's see. He graduated Stepanak High School. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna see what you started. Excuse me. Let's see. He has a journeyman license as a plumber, and he works locally for a while. He's a member of the Ossining Fire Department, where he's been a company officer since 2007. Congratulations, Richard.
I'd like to thank God and my family and all my friends for everything they've done and been by my side all this time, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting started.
Congratulations. Take the call. Take the call.
Pictures. Squeeze in.
Yep, gotta move in.
Sign the book.
Very cool.
Move on to Daniel Plotkin. Resolved, the County of Westchester Personnel Office has certified to the Village of Ossining a list of eligible candidates containing at least 3 names from the permanent appointment position of police officer, and whereas Daniel Plotkin is ranked on the aforesaid list of eligible candidates. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, pursuant to the applicable provision of the Civil Service Law and the unconsolidated laws of New York State, hereby appoints Daniel Plotka to the position of probationary police officer of the Village of Ossining Police Department effective January 20th, 2015, tentative upon completion of pre-employment screening and approval by Westchester County Department of Human Resources at an annual salary of $47,557. This appointment is subject to a probationary period of 78 weeks. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Ready? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Daniel A. Plachta,
I, Daniel A. Plachta,
being duly sworn,
being duly sworn,
state on my honor,
state on my honor,
I will never betray my badge,
I will never betray my badge,
my integrity,
my
character, or the public trust.
my character, or the public trust.
I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions.
I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions.
Further, that I am a resident of the state of New York,
Further, that I am a resident of the state of New York,
and I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the state of New York.
and the Constitution of the state of New York.
I will obey all ordinances, rules, and regulations
I will obey all ordinances, rules, and regulations
of the Village of Ossining
of the Village of Ossining,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Police Officer
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Police Officer
in and for the said Village of Ossining, New York,
in and for the said Village of Ossining, New York,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, officer.
Good talk. Okay. Let's a little bit about Daniel. Daniel was a part-time police officer for 4 summer seasons with Westchester County Department of Public Safety. He's a graduate of SUNY Stony Brook. No, I guess not. Okay. With a major in political science and a minor in philosophy. He's also attended Pace Law School. All right, Kevin. Okay. I knew that was coming. Pace Law School, where he graduated, and he has been admitted to the bar in 2014, so he crossed over from here to there. He's a member of the Ossining Fire Department and serving as many company officers, and as I said at the beginning, he's fluent in German. Congratulations.
All right. I just want to thank my friends and family, especially my parents, who've supported me through all my years at school and still supporting me now and thereafter. Yes. So thank you.
Thank you.
I was going to go through my other German. Would behind be a bit, to swipe be a bit, though I figured you got it. Okay.
One more. She's nervous. How about you? You're nervous?
Resolved, the County of Westchester Personnel Office has certified to the Village of Ossining a list of eligible candidates containing at least 3 names from a permanent appointment position of police officer. And whereas Adam DeBray is ranked on the aforesaid list of eligible candidates, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, pursuant to the applicable provision of the Civil Service Law and the unconsolidated laws of New York State, hereby appoints Adam DeBray to the position of probationary police officer of the Village of Ossining Police Department, effective January 20th, 2015, tentative upon completion of pre-employment screenings and approval by Westchester County Department of Human Resources, at an annual salary of $47,557. This appointment is subject to a probationary period of 78 weeks. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. And you haven't even been sworn in yet. You're getting applause. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Adam W. DeBray,
I, Adam W. DeBray,
being duly sworn,
being duly sworn,
state on my honor,
state on my honor,
I will never betray my badge,
I will never betray my badge,
my integrity,
my
character, or the public trust.
my character, or the public trust.
I will always have the courage
I will always have the courage
to hold myself and others accountable for our actions.
to hold myself and others accountable for our actions.
Further, that I am a resident of the state of New York,
Further, that I am a resident of the state of New York,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the state of New York.
and the Constitution of the state of New York.
I will obey all the ordinances, rules, and regulations
I will obey all the ordinances, rules, and regulations
of the Village of Ossining
of the Village of Ossining,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Police Officer
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Police Officer
in and for the said Village of Ossining, New York,
in and for the said village of Ossining, New York,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, officer. Welcome.
Wasn't that far, Jack? Okay, a little bit about Adam. Adam is an Ossining High School graduate. He is a member of the Ossining Fire Department, serving as company officers. He's a contractor and a heavy equipment operator. And I think at Christmas time, when everybody else got Tonka toys, he got John Deere's.
Would like to thank my friends and family for their support. You guys have all been great, and I'm looking extremely forward to being part of the Ossining Police Department family. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Nobody go anywhere.
We're here to honor, the four of us would like to honor Bill Hanauer for his many years of public service. I have to say it's been an honor and a privilege to work with him for so many years and to see all the things that we've done good here in the village. So we have a proclamation, and I'll read it to you now. Whereas William R. Hanauer served the village of Ossining as trustee from 2005 to 2007, Bill was elected mayor in 2007 and served 4 consecutive 2-year terms, ending at the end of December this year. Whereas during his tenure as trustee, then mayor, Bill worked diligently for the benefit of the people of the village of Ossining. The accomplishments of Bill and his board members are too numerous to list, but include the expanded intermunicipal agreements, including police services and courts, passage of the Affordable Housing Law, Harbor Square groundbreaking, construction of the Riverwalk through Wheeler-Krabucky Nature Preserve, expanded park acreage, and the enormously successful Village Bicentennial, all accomplished while overseeing the maintenance of the village's excellent financial condition. Whereas the village of Ossining extends its deep appreciation to Bill Hanauer for his many years of community service and recognizes his dedication to the village. Now therefore I, John Codman, Deputy Mayor of the Village of Ossining, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, residents, and merchants of the village, do hereby express deep appreciation to Bill for his many years of service and proclaim Thursday, December 18th, 2014 as William R. Hanauer Day in the Village of Ossining, and urge all of our residents and merchants to join in honoring him. I also have the key to the Village of Ossining.
Yeah, I do. You know, I met Bill Hanauer 38 years ago, and he was working at the time as the business agent for the Theatrical Wardrobe Union, and he introduced me to the woman who became my wife. She's never going to forgive you, by the way. Then he moved to Ossining and promptly moved me to Ossining. And then one day he said, "You really need to be on the village board." And I went, "No!" And he said, "Oh, no, it's only one day a week." So he also lies. But all seriousness, on Bill's watch, we weathered 2 hurricanes and the worst recession since the Great Depression in the 30s, which I think Skip was here for. I think you were a cop then, right? And I have to tell you, he has been an incredible inspiration to me, both in my personal life and my work life, in addition to on the board. I can't thank him enough.
And I have to tell you, he's a tough act to follow, and I know that whatever he does next is going to be another amazing adventure. I wish you all the luck.
Thank you to my colleagues on the board.
Did you expect this, Bill, by the way?
No, I didn't expect it. It's the first time a proclamation's been done in 8 years I've had nothing to do with. I think not only my colleagues here, but as you will hear for the next hour and a half, I will be thanking everybody else who has ever worked for this village and who currently works for this village. And I also thank all of you for not only honoring me with your applause, but for supporting this village and for raising those sons and supporting them as they became part of the police family and therefore the family of the entire village. So thank you all very much. To work.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask who would make a motion for a recess.
So move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Get some coffee and some donuts, folks.
Before you all break up, can I have the 5 new police officers up here and all the other police officers up here for one big group picture, please? And I think there's refreshments in the back of the room.
All right, let's smile at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Yay! There we go. That was good. Beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, that's funny. That's a great picture. My pleasure, sir.
Good evening again. As you all know already, this is the last time I will be addressing you as your mayor. However certain our expectation The moment foreseen may be unexpected when it arrives. For the 41 years before 2005, when I became a trustee, I enjoyed a very rich and diverse career in the entertainment industry. I enjoyed every minute of it, well, most minutes of it, as you will probably recognize, John. Job satisfaction was high, compensation was also high. However, the last 8 years have been amongst the most rewarding of my life.
But not compensation.
The compensation arising solely from achievement as I measure them. When I first campaigned for mayor, I did so with the belief that the time had come for me to give back to society a portion of the rich gifts with which I had been showered all my life. Like my parents and my maternal grandfather before me, I chose to do so by trying to improve the lives of other people. Each of us public servants, no matter our political ideology, begins by believing we are doing good and continues to believe it for the duration of our careers in public life. When I became mayor, there was a great need and a great opportunity to rebuild a once thriving village, to begin to bring prosperity back to downtown, to heal the rifts created during the many previous years of economic decline, to return civility to the public discourse, to eliminate public fighting, political fighting, and tensions in our diverse community and within the staff. I believe as a team, we have succeeded in all but the return of civility. We had, to a large degree, been successful at that as well for most of my time in office, at least until recently. In my first inaugural address, I questioned my own abilities and stated that I would do my best and that any mistakes in judgment or in action would be unintended. For any part I may have played in this undoing of my own achievement, and for all mistakes I might have inadvertently made as mayor, I am truly regretful. I hope they were few and overshadowed by accomplishments. With determination and with the help of our extraordinarily dedicated, talented, hard-working trustees, staff, and scores of volunteers, I have led the village through the worst economy, the darkest ages since the 1930s, into a renaissance of sorts. I take credit only for leading the team that set policy, for being our ambassador to other communities in the county, the state, the nation, and internationally. I have been the figurehead, the prow of the ship, if you will, not the helmsman, not one of the capable men and women who have daily piloted and propelled our municipality. The mayor, as defined in the village charter, is head of the village, first among equals on the board of trustees, but, and, with the same single vote. All resolutions and local laws have been approved by a majority, and I am pleased to say, in almost every case in the last 8 years, unanimously, by all of the men and women with whom I have had the privilege to serve. I take credit also for leading the fight to maintain our autonomy, for defeating efforts of misinformed and misguided individuals who had been encouraged by those who should have known better and cared more. Expanding the tax base through development has been a theme of my mayoralty from the onset, and my commitment to it has paid off. Such development has greater importance now than ever because of the caps, freezes, and reductions in increases to the real property tax imposed on municipalities by the state legislature and the governor, simultaneously accompanied by huge increases in state-mandated expenses. During my tenure, we created and passed the first comprehensive plan in 50 years and significantly amended the zoning code in order to focus on that development. That has led to the construction of thousands of square feet of commercial space and hundreds of units of housing. And with the concomitant passage of the affordable housing law, a large proportion of those units are within financial reach of working families. We have seen some businesses come and go, But some, such as Laura Lee's, Melita's, and Bob's Army Navy Store, have weathered the storm, the storms, and prospered. And now new restaurants and businesses are opening, and more are slated to follow. As I've always projected, in accordance with the consensus of expert planners and demographers, commerce is following population, and will continue to do so with greater acceleration in future if future boards continue to develop downtown as a center for residents with disposable income as well as for businesses. With the influx of new residents, especially downtown, the tax base will continue to expand and sales and mortgage tax revenues will increase, making it easier to hold the line on real property tax levy increases on all village property owners. None of this expansion could have been accomplished without the tireless work of village planner Valerie Monastra, Chairman Joe Clark and the Planning Board, Chairman Jim Bowen and the Zoning Board of Appeals, village historian Deborah Van Steen, and Chairwoman Joanne Tall and the Historic Preservation Commission, and Chairman Jeff Smith and the Environmental Advisory Council. The addition of the Director of Downtown and Economic Development, Ingrid Richards, has enhanced our ability to attract potential developers, new business people, and residents, especially young professionals. Inclusion of all elements of our society has also been a major theme of mine. I've spent the last 8 years as mayor and my almost 2 years as trustee participating in events in all of our ethnic and minority communities and addressing their needs, the needs of their constituents in each, as well as those of all of our other populations. We now have sister villages in Italy and Portugal, and I've been corresponding with the new mayor of Cuenca, Ecuador, about the exciting possibility of creating a third. I regret I have not had time to bring that to fruition, but I think Manny will probably push it with the next government. In my first inaugural address, I tried to inspire residents and merchants alike not to disregard the message of the season which had then just passed and which is upon us again now, that the Son of Man not be born again in a litter of scorn. Here in Ossining, we have a large number of people who suffer the indignities of poverty, of hunger, of poor health, of incarceration, of loss of homeland and of family. I said then and have, I hope, always acted to the best of my ability to protect those least able to protect themselves, visiting and supporting our least comfortable residents, participating in charity-related activities of religious organizations and safety net not-for-profits, of which the village is home to many. I hope in future that proactive activities of the village will inspire developers to consider constructing new, safe, and secure housing for our low-income families, and that the board succeeds in addressing the issue of perceived overcrowding in living conditions that could be dangerous not only to the residents and merchants, but also to our first responders. Director of Code Enforcement, Building Inspector Al Sirocco, and his staff have made major inroads, but we are far from total success. When we first met at the Westchester Planning Federation Awards dinner a number of years ago, Al was afraid of me. Can you imagine? Since then, however, he has been a valued, friendly colleague who diligently performs his sometimes unpopular tasks, an advisor, one without and with good humor. Thank you, Al. Since she cannot do so herself, I recommend that the village board lobby the federal government for expanded resources so that Director of Section 8, Marilyn Geraldo, may serve more residents as efficiently and empathetically as she has for years done to her clients. We are envied across the state for our first responders. I am very proud to have been a mayor at a time when they are so uniformly respected. I have always half joked that I have a proprietary interest in them, only half joked, that they are my personal police and fire and ambulance corps. I've always tried to look out for their interests as they look out for all of ours, and they have been very supportive of me and of this board, of all of our action. Our fire department is the largest, finest, and best equipped all-volunteer department in the state. For years, each month, the board has voted to appoint more new firefighters. How many other municipalities can say that? Our chiefs, Jason Lorenz, Matt Scarduzio, and Angelo Maniccio, and their predecessors during my tenure, Tom Reddy, Pete Connolly, Fred Stenick, and Mauro Santucci, have led the department with admirable skill and dedication to the safety of our entire village and town. I have witnessed their work of what appears to be organized chaos, but is actually organized efficiency at many fires and training sessions. As head of the village, I have tried to attend as many emergencies as possible, especially at night, when residents and merchants are most disoriented and anxious. I am proud to be an associate member and to count many other members as my friends. You've already heard what I have said about the police department. Our police department, first accredited in 2004, has had that distinction renewed twice during my tenure. And we are not Staten Island. We are not Ferguson. Our community-based police are trained and retrained each year. And now we are on the cusp of fulfilling a long-held goal of mine, of our governments, and of the leadership of the department itself. Rarely does a community have so dedicated a group of volunteers as we do in our Ossining Volunteer Ambulance Corps. Its Captain Nick Franzoso, First Lieutenant Gary Conklin, and Second Lieutenant Eileen Sussman serve at the time of growth in need, in coalitions with other communities' corps, in the Corps itself, and in the development of the tax district, at a time when the tragedy of Chief Sam Lubin's accident took away his able leadership. Their leadership has been healing and stellar. I look forward to serving on OVAC's board beginning on January 5th, to which I was elected on Monday. Thank you, Eileen, for giving me that news. I have enjoyed my education and my pleasure in working as a public information officer with our entire emergency management team, including and maybe especially during those times of crisis when their competence, intelligence, sharp focus, stamina, camaraderie, and most of all humor were repeatedly put to tests. I have never laughed so hard nor learned so much, so frequently, so late at night, and in such serious situations. We are a community served by many other dedicated, hardworking men and women in all departments. We are served very well. They, along with our first responders, deserve our recognition, respect, and gratitude. I've always used the term safety and security to include not only emergency services, but also abundant clean water and safe infrastructure. Thanks to village engineer Paul Frioli, who called me today to apologize for not being here, and Superintendent of Water Andy Teese and their crews, our infrastructure has been improved steadily over these years. Emergencies dispatched with technical proficiency and in good time. I thank them for their extraordinary work and praise their professional and management skills. I also thank them for educating, supporting, encouraging, and befriending me from the very beginning. The safety of our workers, their annually repetitive and updated training, their health insurance and pensions are the province of Director of Personnel Linda McMahon, who with her assistant Nancy Conklin have created a reinvigorated department and added greatly to the welcome and all-around positive energy of Village Hall. Our form of government is representative democracy, not direct democracy. While we elected officials need and rely on public input, we do not live in a state where plebiscites, referenda, or social media are the way difficult decisions are made. We are entrusted to represent the electorate, the board to set policy, and the administration we engage to carry it out. The village is a very complicated urban municipality, more like a city, an old one at that, with all the intricacies, aging infrastructure, post-industrial blight, diversity, and density inherent to an old city. Many years ago, our predecessor residents wisely adopted a village manager form of government. Last week, village manager Richard Lyons announced his retirement effective March 31st. The loss of his breadth and depth of legal knowledge and command of the functioning of the village is sterling long-term work for the village and town of Ossining in various capacities, and his love for this village will render a serious challenge to the next board's ability to continue our residence. Since May 1983, when first engaged as Deputy Corporation Counsel, Richard has held positions in both the village and town governments. He was acting manager twice before assuming the role exclusively himself on January 1st, 2011. He has worked diligently to realize the course set by the board in light of the national economic troubles, implementing our new comprehensive plan, holding down expenses, and maximizing the efficacy of staff. In his sometimes perceived tortoise-like tempo, he has accomplished a huge volume of work, thoroughly researched and developed. He has kept us on the path of the achievable, protected the board from litigation, even ideated the bicentennial sculpture exhibition, Ossining in 3D. This was all not a simple task. Balancing all departments' needs, manpower, and equipment needed to provide essential services to the entire village and many to the town outside. Richard has had excellent help over all these years in all of these areas. I understand that despite her apparent youth, the municipal building seems to have been constructed around Assistant Village Manager Christina Papes. Over these many years, Chrissy has been general factotum to a number of village managers, mayors, and trustees, always attempting to keep on top of her ever-mounting pile of work. Pretty much whatever is thrown at her. I will miss her good humor, wisdom, and advice to be nice. Thank you, Chrissy. Equally important to me as their work, Richard and Chrissy have been good friends, counselors, advisors, and contributors, and collaborators. Secretary Lisa Nestor. I asked her to stay, but she had a party to go to. She's the final editor of all of my documents and letters, keeper of my calendar, which I never look at, advisor and friend. She's been essential in running the village for many, many years, along with Chrissy. They both know where the bodies are buried. My metaphor is solely to mean that if no one can find it, any document can be located by one or both of those two. If there is a need, a name one forgets, they remember it. If there is a proclamation to be written, oh, Richard, would you remind Chrissy, please, that I'll need a third version of the proc for Star of Bethlehem no later than Friday afternoon. Corporation Counsel Lori Lee Dixon, who works directly for the board, has contributed to Richard's ability to function solely as manager as well. She has doggedly pursued the legal interests of the village, from litigation to drafting legislation and endless variations on the theme of Town of Ossining court-related documents, to negotiating with developers, to advising, and even to sharing a laugh with the mayor. Thank you, Lori, for so capably executing these complicated tasks. Treasurer Tom Warren, his deputy Del Ferrara, and their staff have, with consummate professionalism, expertly managed the financial business of the village, preparing budgets, payroll, and reports, and advising the board. When Tom arrived, he restructured the incredibly dense budget document to make the board's job, while still occasionally painful when we have to make cuts to program or purchase of equipment, much more proficient. And they have done so with meticulousness and constant good humor. My now 46-year-old undergraduate degree is in communications, arts, and sciences. As well as learning about the many aspects of theatrical work, I also studied architecture, history, language, and, well, the writing of letters, articles, and of sermons and speeches, long ones at that.
Oh, yeah.
46 years ago, we had no cell phones, or even portable phones, no computers or Xerox machines. Everything was written on typewriters with carbon copies. No voicemail, no emails, no social media, no clouds. Television was produced in studios and increasingly on locations by professionals with very heavy, unwieldy equipment. The archives I knew existed in the stacks of the New York Public Library. Here, in the village, we have both traditional print archives of official records, written and kept by my long-term friend, our village clerk, Mary Ann Roberts, and her deputy, Anne-Marie Rocco, and their staff, and digital archives administered by IT Director Craig Cooper, who is watching this on television while he streams it. In fact, more and more of village internal and external communications, including not only documents but emails and the televising and streaming of our meetings, is Craig's work. He is even good-humoredly tolerant of my antediluvian approach to technology. Thank you, Tom Campanella, for your camera work all these years. You've made this work. Let me end my thanks and paeans to our staff with Superintendent of Recreation and Parks. Where would this village be without Henry? His very nature, his care for seniors and children, his inventive programming, and his enormous expansion of it will be sorely missed after his retirement on January 23rd. That is, it's in place, he will be sorely missed. When he will board his boat and sail around the world into the sunrise. Henry, good friend, great job. Bon voyage. Get ready to welcome Chris Soy, Henry's successor. Please note, I did not say replacement. There can be none. And if I've omitted anyone, please forgive me yet another unintended blunder. As President Eisenhower in his farewell address warned against the dominance of the military-industrial complex, so do I caution future boards, in fact, all residents and merchants of the village, to be vigilant against those for whom political retribution is more important than the greater good of the village. Be conscious of easy, cynical political decisions in all levels of government, made for short-term gain for the few, when making the more difficult choices would be longer-term benefit for the many. Do not allow demagogues to distract you from demanding and providing the best possible services, the highest degree of safety and security, the strongest infrastructure. Be aware of attempts at dissolution by those who have personal political advance as their motive. We must all continue to work together to build this village of ours, not to dissolve it. And even though the political aspect of my service may have come to an end, I intend to remain a vital part of the community, serving in whatever capacity seems most effective. And with that, I wish everyone a very happy Hanukkah, Christmas, and Kwanzaa, and a very happy, healthy, and prosperous future. And let us celebrate together that there will be no fracking in the state of New York. And that the President of the United States has declared that we will normalize relations with Cuba at last. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have a lot of work to do, so sit down.
Bossy to the end.
Do we have any other mayors or trustees announcements? Seeing none. We will go into administrative reports, and we'll begin with Village Manager Richard Lyons.
Thank you very much. Just a couple of comments on some of the resolutions this evening. There are several resolutions on that authorize execution by the village manager of several annualized resolutions. One of them is Resolution J, which authorizes the contract documents for the stop loss, which is the excess coverage that the village has in place over and above its self-funding health plan. Resolution K is the one which is spoken about before. This solidifies the village's relationship with the Interfaith Council, who performs the processes required for the housing, for the affordable housing component of the village's laws. And there are several other resolutions on for annual year-end resolutions to balance the budget with respect to expenses and income. Finally, Resolution M is an annual resolution as well. It incorporates unpaid water and sewer charges that have been accrued up through time, which will be incorporated into the 2015 Village of Ossining tax bills. Resolution N is a annual resolution, in this case, I believe a 5-year contract with respect to the Employee Assistance Program with the County of Westchester, and there are also several certiorari resolutions which council may desire to speak to. And with that, I just want to wish everybody a happy holiday season and the best of New Year's for 2015. Thank you.
Continue on with Corporation Counsel, Laura Lee Dixon.
Thank you. I will just briefly summarize the two certiorari resolutions on your agenda this evening. We have item O and item N. I'm sorry, O and M. M is the second part of the tax certiorari proceeding pertaining to the Stop and Shop property. The first 2 years, the property was still owned by the developer, the owner of the shopping center, and now, as it has changed hands to Stop and Shop, this is the second part of this for the remaining years now that Stop and Shop has owned the property. The other item is for a smaller refund for the property at 47 South Highland Avenue. These are negotiated and settled through the town since the village has ceased being an assessing unit in the 80s. I just wanted to say that as we come to a close for this year, this board, I was fortunate to work with this board to promulgate 5 new local laws which have been incorporated into your code. Some were as dense as our apiary registration law, which took some time, as Bob is, Trustee Durayo is quick to point out, but it's a good law as a result of the time it took and the effort with which the subcommittee responded to the needs of the enthusiasts, the beekeeping enthusiasts of the world. So I look forward to the spring. We did have one apiary registered this past year, a single one, but perhaps it was due to the fact that our law became into effect a little later in the season than a normal beekeeping season would be. So I look forward to the spring when the new the new rooks are in place and the new apiaries are installed, and I'll be reporting on those as they become registered, and that will be exciting news. That was a sample of a dense law. We've also had a number of laws that were responsive to comments made during the public comments period for stop signs and changes in parking regulations, and it was a pleasure to work on those with the chief and with his staff at the police department, and to go out into the field and make the necessary measurements, and to be sure that the laws were written in such a way as to assist the good residents of the community. So I'm honored to be able to assist with bringing things to the table and getting them on the books to assist the residents as they come forward. I have a number of things in the hopper. I look forward to, in many stages of being complete, and I look forward to bringing those forward in the coming months, and I look forward to working with the board, the new board as it's constituted, to get at least 5. That's my challenge, more moving forward, and I want to thank you, the 5 of you. It's been a pleasure working with you this year to get these laws brought forward, so I appreciate it. I also noted that no one announced tonight that the importance of having an energy audit done at your home, your private residence. I underwent that process myself, and I can say that it has been an incredible change in my house, and I encourage the good residents of the village of Ossining to look into having the free energy audit done, and also to do the upgrades as they are recommended to the best that they can afford. So I recommend that highly, and I look forward to many more announcements where that funding will remain available for the energy audit. So thank you.
Move on to Police Chief Joseph Burton.
Good evening. I think my report was longest for the night, but let me just finish off with a few other things. Statistic for the month of November: blotter entries 2,165, vehicle and traffic summonses issued 174, parking summonses 824, Part 1 crimes and uniform crime reports were 20, arrests for the month were 70. Also tomorrow, right here in this room, right here in River City, from 12:30 to 5, there will be a blood drive sponsored by the Ossining PBA, the Ossining PAL, and the CSEA members. So it's 12:30 to 5, Thursday, December 18th, in this room. Come in, leave a pint, and get a raffle ticket for a 40-inch color television donated by the PAL, and also a $100 gift certificate donated by the CSEA. And Mayor, it's been fun for 8 years. We realized that P&P never mix. Police and politics, or it's like oil and water sometimes. We seem to have worked out those 8 years. Well, we have a few scars, but not many. More bruises than scars, I guess we had. I thank you for all the support that you have given us all through the years. Even though when I was president of the Chiefs Association, you introduced me as the fire chief, but we'll take that over. The other thing is that I wonder when you're entering OVAC, if you got the phone call like the Trustee Durayo phone call, that only once a month.
Actually, they said it was 3 times a year or 4 times a year at most.
I just wanted to tell you that I chaired OVAC when we started the ALS program, and turned it around. I had the first ALS save. So wish you the best on the board and the best going forward, and I know that you'll be around.
Thank you, Chief.
Move on to Fire Chief Jason Lorenz.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, fellow board members. The Ossining Fire Department has responded to 620 alarms to date this year. In December, it's Christmas time here in Ossining and all over. The Baker Collier Cheer Fund, once again, in its 99th year here in Ossining. It delivers food to the needy throughout our community. The fire department has been there for the Baker Collier Cheer year in, year out. Last year we delivered we packed and delivered over 370 baskets here in our community. Once again, we'll be doing that on December 22nd and delivering the baskets on December 23rd. Earlier this month, the fire department held its chief's election. As of January 1st, Matthew Scarduzio was elected as fire chief. Angela Manicio was elected first assistant chief, and Manny DeCruz was elected second assistant chief. And I'd just like to take the time to thank the mayor, also thank the village board, and also the previous members of the board during my 6 years as fire chief here in the Austin community. It's been a good run here. I watched my son's turning 6 on Friday, and I watched him grow. And you know, I've had a family there to support me through my 6 years as chief. It's not just about going to fires. There's a lot of planning involved. As Chief Burton had mentioned, the mayor has been a supporter for all emergency services, and we thank you for your service to the Austin community. You've been there for numerous meetings that we've held up in Lake George. You've had a speech up there as members were inducted as presidents of organizations. You've also been there for 50-year members, awarding them proclamations, and we just thank you for your support. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Jay. It was a pleasure working with you and watching you grow in the job.
Thank you for your service, Jason. Thank you so much.
Treasurer Thomas Warren.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the Board of Trustees, and happy holidays. First thing I want to mention is that I want you to know how much I appreciate these meetings that are relatively short, even though tonight's seems to be longer than normal. Last night I was watching the Yorktown Town Board meeting, and they have like a different style. They try to combine work sessions with legislative sessions, and the meeting went from 7:30 at night until 2:30 in the morning last night. So thank you.
I remember the time when that happened here. I think
you know what, that was
1:30
before my
about the
time,
latest.
and let's hope that those days don't return. With the new year nearly upon us, I had this friendly reminder for the payment and collection of village property taxes. The first installment of the 2015 village property taxes is due next month by January 31st without penalty. Tax payments may be made payable in the Village Finance Department by mail or via the village's website during the month of January. Also, the 2015 tax bills are slated to be mailed by the printer on December 26th, so people should be looking for them in the mail, and will have the opportunity to pay them early if they so wish to do so. Any questions, taxpayers can call the Finance Department at 941-2581, and I'm going to condense my talk about property taxes and unpaids, but it will be in a detailed report. I just wanted to let you know that as the 2014 fiscal year comes to an end, the current year unpaid property taxes this year versus last year is very consistent, and we're at a very high 98.54% of collected property taxes for 2014. And so right now, as of today, current year taxes are about $50,700 less than where they were this year, last year, and that in conjunction with the unpaid prior year taxes, which I want to mention briefly, is also good news. The unpaid prior year tax liens on the balance sheet are about $20,000 less right now than they were a year ago, but more importantly, looking at year to year, on the balance sheet date is one thing and isn't very meaningful, but on January 1st, all of the prior year's current taxes become tax liens and become delinquent. So this past year, we were able to collect a lot of prior year tax liens totaling about $382,000, and every year we talk about at the end of the year and the 60-day calculation of deferred taxes for purposes of recognizing revenues. And last year, at this time, we had been talking about the fact that it looked like we're going to have about $150,000 shortfall in property tax collections, which ended up being about $148,000. But with the collection of all these prior year tax liens during the 2014 year, I'm very optimistic that we'll be able to recoup some of those deferred tax revenues from prior years and recognize them as additional revenues in the 2014 year. But we have to wait that for 60 days of 2015. I have mixed news on the second half mortgage tax revenue, which we received just this week. Payment for the second half of the year was $96,995, bringing our 2014 revenue amount to $192,499, which is just about $7,500 less than the amount that we had budgeted for the year, $200,000. And unfortunately, it's much less than the nearly $226,000 that we had received in 2013, but it's still more than the three-year average previously, 2010 to 2012, which was on average about $185,000. For other revenues, as we had been discussing during our budget discussions in November's, we've had several departments with revenues that have exceeded the revenue estimates, and sales tax as well. And now that the end of the year is approaching, we'll be making our year-end revenue accruals, and next month we'll be able to talk more about how the revenues look for the year as a whole. And as a reminder, because many of them are on a calendar year basis, I just wanted to remind the public that the Finance Department is receiving and processing the hardship parking exemption applications, also known as the overnight parking applications. The application is available on the village's website. It's at the police department, it's in the hallway of the court, it's in the clerk's office, and it's also in the finance department. And on tonight's agenda, the voucher detail report actually appears to be very high. I wanted you to be assured that it wasn't a typo. It shows at more than $4 million, but included in that amount is the annual employer contribution to the retirement system of about $3.3 million. And other housekeeping items, as the manager had mentioned, there's a budget modification for the settled contracts for the CSEA and managers. This amount was included in the 2014 budget in the contingency account, but it's just housekeeping to move it to the different budget lines where the expenditures are actually showing. And also on the agenda tonight, as the manager mentioned, is the unpaid water sewer resolution. And this afternoon I filed an updated list with the village clerk at $475,880. And finally, I just want to say to the mayor that it's been a pleasure working with you the past 6.5 years, and I wish you the best of luck in the next chapter of your life. And thank you for the kind words.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you.
Village Planner Valerie Monastra is not here this evening, but Village Manager Richard Lyons is going to read her report.
Thank you. Valerie sent over some items that she wanted to mention to the board this evening. Before I do that, I would just mention that several of the department heads are not here this evening between other commitments. For example, I think Valerie's at the planning board, and some other the managers are either away or several of them have medical situations that they're taking care of. So we certainly hope that they are better and rejoin us soon. With respect to the planning report, this report of Valerie's highlights the work of the planning department in the last month. The larger development project approval updates, Hudson Step. This applicant proposes to build 188 units, including infrastructure improvements, historic preservation, 10% affordable housing, and green buildings. The applicant is looking for their final approvals from the planning board within the next month or two. Victoria Home, the applicant proposes to reconstruct their facilities and create a facility for 120 beds. They've started their environmental review process, and we are undertaking an internal review of the DEIS. The Planning Board and Board of Architectural Review have reviewed 36 new applications so far this year. The Zoning Board of Appeals has reviewed 29 new applications. The Historic Preservation Commission has worked on 8 applications this year and is continuing its work on the historic signage walking tour. Work is about to begin on the license agreements with the various property owners for the signs and the easements for their installation. The Environmental Advisory Council has worked on LWRP consistency of 6 applications this year. And since I get a second go-around at the microphone, on behalf of the entire management team of the Village of Ossining, the day-to-day operatives that maintain the village on a daily basis, I'd like to thank the mayor personally and professionally for your high level of support, your being present for the Village of Ossining at every opportunity that you get, for your personal friendship and guidance under which I've been able to grow as a professional, and just for your strong commitment to community and people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard.
Director of Code Enforcement, Al Sirocco.
Mayor, members of the board, I have the building department's November activity report. We have 34 new complaints, broken down. Infant Station 1, we had 5 construction without building permits, 3 fire safety issues, 1 garbage, 5 heat, 5 overcrowding living spaces, 11 property maintenance issues, 1 site plan violation, and 2 village ordinances. We were able to close 35 complaints this month. We had 6 new violations with 12 counts. Also, violations closed this month, we had 13 with 52 counts that were closed. Court appearance tickets issued this month were 1 with 1 count. Court appearance tickets closed, we had a total of 3. Total to date is 106. Court fines assessed this month was $3,900. Our court fines assessed to date is $120,450. We had 24 new building permits, fee totaling $10,300, 18 certificate of occupancies, fee totaling for final cost affidavits was $1,255. We had 16 new plumbing permits totaling $1,140. 28 new electrical permits, fee totaling $2,120. 1 backflow application, fee totaling $100. We had 49 overnight parking inspections, 17 Section 8 inspections, 7 fire assembly inspections, 196 building and plumbing inspections. We had a total of 16 searches that totaled $1,600. And 16 foils were completed this month. Just a reminder to all property owners that they're required to supply their tenants with a minimum of 68 degrees of temperature at all times from September 15th through May 31st. If anyone has a heat complaint, please call the building department at 941-3199 from 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday. If it's after hours, please call the police department at 941-4099. With all that said, Mayor, I just want to say thank you very much. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I wish you nothing but the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you. I did have a line about your basso profundo, but my editor took it out.
Good choice.
Could we have Tom has to change the tape.
Yeah.
Also profound.
Henry Atterbury.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board.
Evening, Henry.
My next to last report. Couple of business things. On December 13th, we had the Breakfast with Santa. We had a great turnout this year. I was unfortunately unable to make this one. Family commitments, but I heard that we had over 250 children plus their parents there, so it was a great turnout. And I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor. I heard you and Trustee Caseta, I believe, were there helping out and pitching in, and so thank you very much. The staff appreciate that. On December 27th, we're holding a trip for Ossining students. It's a tubing trip to Windham Mountain. It's $17. They go up and they ride inner tubes down the side of the mountain for 4 hours. my body would not take it, but I guess if you're younger, you can stand that.
Cold for that sort of-
I won't be for me. I won't be there, but the kids like it. So, but that is December 27th. So you can sign up at the community center now for that. It's $17 for the day, and that includes transportation. But you have to bring your own lunch or bring money to buy lunch. So if you call 941-3189 and speak to Bob Chesney or whoever's working at the front desk, they'll help you sign up for that.
Remind me, Henry.
Yeah. And in the January programs, information will be out at the end of December for the upcoming programs. You can stop by the community center to renew your ID card, your recreation ID card, because if you don't have a current recreation ID card, you will not be able to sign up for programs online. And in that next round of programs is all the swimming lessons, which is very popular. So you want to come down and get your ID card renewed. And with that, I would say, Mr. Mayor, it has been a pleasure working with you for out of my almost 16 and a half years, 8 of them with you, and countless. The Breakfast with Santa is just one. I don't know, opening day of baseball, the tree lighting ceremonies, the Breakfast with Santas, the just numerous programs that you've always made it a point to show up at, and the people appreciate that. I appreciate that, and I've enjoyed working with Ossining Recreation Parks now for almost 16 years, and I would say that your support has been greatly appreciated. And I wish you the best in your next part of your life. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Henry.
Okay, I will take this opportunity, Mr. Mayor. It has been an absolute pleasure working with you, and I look forward to the continuation of our friendship, which is a value to all of us. But I wish you much luck in your new endeavors, and I know whatever you do, you're going to be a major success at.
Thank you so
So
much.
good luck.
And the friendship will continue.
Organizational announcements. Do we have any? No, not seeing any. Would anybody like to comment on any of the village board resolutions? No? All right, we'll get into the village resolutions. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the December 3rd, 2014 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Board, clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated December 17th, 2014 in the amount of $4,004,832. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Board.
Yeah, you scared the hell out of me, Tom. I walked in, I saw a voucher report, $4 million. Just to put it in perspective, that's about 10 times what the normal every 2-week voucher thing was. Don't frighten me like that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We will move down to
You did all the comps.
That makes it go so much faster.
Resolution
Yes.
8. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the Fire Chief, Robert T. Riemann of Ossining, New York, was elected as a fire police officer for the Ossining Fire Police and Emergency Squad.
So moved.
Second.
Board.
Yeah. This is an interesting appointment. Robert Riemann is joining his mother and his father, who are both officers of our company. We are thrilled to have them, have all 3 of them there, and it's very exciting to have the whole family. And the Riemann family has given so much to this village, and now they're adding their son. It's awesome.
Great.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby removes Danny Rivera and Nick Cayales, I'm probably
Cayales.
saying it wrong, from the active roles of the Ossining Fire Department. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Board, clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that the village manager of the Village of Ossining is hereby authorized to execute the necessary documents to enter into a contract with Niagara Life and Health Insurance Company of Columbia, South Carolina through ASG Risk Management, Inc., 2 Mountain Square, Suite 520, Portland, Maine, for stop-loss insurance coverage for the village's self-funded health plan for the term effective January 1, 2014 through December 31st, 2015. So it should be January. at a monthly rate of $43,569.90 per month, such documents being subject to review and approval by the Corporation Council. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Board, clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that the Village of Ossining hereby accepts a proposal from IFCA Housing Network, 138 Spring Street, Ossining, New York, dated November 20th, 2014, for services in connection with the administration of the rental homeownership housing component of the Village of Ossing's affordable housing program, with fees for the enumerated services to be assessed in accordance therewith. And be it further resolved that the village manager is authorized to execute any and all documents as needed to formalize the relationship between the village and IFCA, said documents to meet the approval of the Corporation Council. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Board, clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the 2014 adopted budget is modified to allow for the transfer of appropriations from the contingency accounts in the general, water, sewer, and Section 8 housing program funds to the respective appropriation accounts for negotiated CSEA contractual amounts and for department managers as follows. Would you like me to read all of the numbers or
Unnecessary.
just the total
Just the-
increase?
yes.
Okay. The total increase to appropriation accounts, $186,191. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Board, Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you for not reading.
Whereas the village treasurer has presented to the Board of Trustees a certificate setting forth the amounts of all delinquent unpaid water charges, including penalties, with a description of real property affected thereby, and whereas the village treasurer has presented to the Board of Trustees a statement setting forth the amount of each lien for delinquent unpaid sewer charges in arrears, the real property affected thereby, and the name of the person in whose name such real property is assessed. And whereas pursuant to Section 11-1118 of the village law, such water charges are a lien upon the premises affected thereby. And whereas pursuant to Section 452 of the general municipal law, such sewer charges are a lien upon the premises affected thereby. Now therefore be it resolved, pursuant to Section 11-1118 of the village law and Section 452 of the general municipal law, the unpaid water and sewer charges plus penalties as set forth in the attached certificate from the village treasurer be, and the same hereby are levied upon the property in default and added to the annual tax levy with respect to such property, and be it further resolved that amounts levied hereby shall be collected and enforced in same manner and at the same time as may be provided by law for the collection and enforcement of village taxes. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board, Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that the village manager of the Village of Ossining is hereby authorized to execute an intermunicipal agreement with Westchester County, acting through its Department of Community Mental Health, for participation in the Employee Assistance Program during the 5-year term from January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2019, subject to the review and approval by Corporation Council. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. On the board, Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas the Village of Ossining ceased being a tax assessing unit in 1989 and now adopts the Town of Ossining assessment roll as prepared by the assessor of the Town of Ossining for all subsequent years, and whereas certain tax certiorari proceedings were instituted against the Town of Ossining by Michael R. and Kim Kelly to review the assessment against petitioner's property situated at 47 South Highland Avenue and designated Section 97.07 Block 6, Lot 21, for the assessment years 2012 and 2013 taxes, which said proceedings were recently concluded in the Westchester County Supreme Court under index numbers 12-65192 and 13-64530, and whereas a judgment entered in favor of the petitioner, among other things, directs the Village of Ossining to audit and pay to the petitioner the amount of overpayment of real estate taxes determined in accordance with the assessments fixed and determined by said judgment in the amount of $1,968.21 as set forth in Schedule A, and whereas any and all refunds of taxes necessitated by said judgment are to be made without interest if paid within 60 days after service upon the village of a certified copy of said judgment. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, upon certification by the village treasurer that all the aforesaid taxes have been paid, hereby authorizes and directs the village treasurer to make the payments of such refund of real property taxes due to Riley, Like, and Kennedy as attorneys for the petitioners as required by said judgment. And be it further resolved that the village treasurer shall make a notation in the margin of the assessment rolls of the Village of Ossining that said assessments were reduced and payment of refund of the overpayment of real property taxes was made pursuant to said judgment, and that total payment is $1,968.21. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas the Village of Ossining ceased being a tax assessing unit in 1989 and now adopts the Town of Ossining assessment roll as prepared by the assessor of the Town of Ossining for all subsequent years, and whereas certain tax certiorari proceedings were instituted against the Town of Ossining by the Stop and Shop Companies, Inc., to review the assessment against petitioner's property situate at 22 Rockledge Avenue and designated as Section 97.19, Block 1, Lot 40 for the assessment years 2008 through 2013 taxes, which said proceedings were recently concluded in the Westchester County Supreme Court under index numbers 08, 21072, 09, 21686, 10, 25147, 11, 56668, 12, 65899, and 13, 66534. And whereas a judgment entered in favor of the petitioner, among other things, directs the Village of Ossining to audit and pay the petitioner the amount of overpayment of real estate taxes determined in accordance with the assessments fixed and determined by said judgment in the amount of $127,542.90 as set forth in Schedule A. And whereas any and all refunds of taxes necessitated by said judgment are to be made without interest if paid within 90 days after service upon the village of a certified copy of said judgment. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, upon certification by the village treasurer that all the aforesaid taxes have been paid, hereby authorizes and directs the village treasurer to make the payment of such refund of real property taxes due to Cronin & Cronin Law Firm, PLLC, as attorneys for the petitioners as required by said judgment. And it is further resolved that the village treasurer shall make a notation in the margin of the assessment rolls of the Village of Ossining that said assessments were reduced and payment of refund of the overpayment of real property taxes was made pursuant to said judgment. And that total payment is $127,542.90. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board. Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Do we have any continuing business of the board?
No, ma'am.
Do we have any new business of the board?
No, ma'am.
Might we then entertain a recess if we have individuals who would like to address the board?
So moved.
We need to acknowledge.
Okay, you would.
Oh, not yet. We're going to see if we're going
Okay,
to.
it will be
Yeah.
under, okay. So
Yeah, but
might
we
I
do
have
need
a
to.
motion to,
So moved.
What about, are we going to go into executive session?
We don't have.
For like 5 minutes.
So, I
okay,
think,
so
Well, but we have.
we
first
have
we
a
gotta do
recess.
this
We have
first,
a-
right?
Yes,
yeah,
all right.
okay.
So we have a recess.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This ends the televised portion of this evening's program. Let me remind everyone that although it's not snowing and it probably won't be icy between now and Christmas, please be very careful when you're driving. This is not a good time to be driving into the city. Please take care of your aged, infirmed, or families with young children who may be neighbors of yours or friends of yours. Have a great holiday and have a great New Year.